Good day all. Welcome all our Rotarians and guests here today. This is our weekly meeting, the 3rd of the month of April, 2022. A special welcome to our Rotarian Nikita. She's our speaker today. She's a member of the Satellite Club in Cat Island, and as a certified scuba diver, I must say that she's all well versed in things connected to science and conservation, particularly when it's related to the marine environment. Now, turning it over to our Rotarian, Gabrielle, the MC for today.
Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry. I'm just getting adjusted to coming back to work at the normal work schedule. And so Rotarian, our president, Rotarian Mike, has welcomed all of us. And so I'm just going to open with the invocation. Let us pray. Friends, again, we break bread together and unite our hearts in humble gratitude. May this happy meeting of the minds fully express in thought, word, and deed our steadfast devotion to the divine ideal of universal brotherhood and peace. Amen. All right, and so now we will have the toast to the Queen and to the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. To the Queen and to the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Thanks very much, and we call on Rotarian Wayne for the welcome.
Thank you, Rotarian Gabrielle. Truly, it's a good day to be here. Of course, this is a beautiful, beautiful Tuesday, and we're just so happy to be here. Now, those of you joining us by Zoom, we welcome you, but we really wish you was here in person. And we try to make a good push for you to be here in person. So eventually we'll get there, hey? We'll get there, but we want to just thank all of our Rotarians who saw it fit to come out in person to be here to fellowship. As Sheila says, that's what Rotary is all about, networking and fellowshipping and touching base, and at least getting in person. So we're going to get back to it, and we know that the wheels of getting back into motion is grinding very, very slow. But eventually, it will continue to go and build momentum as we get much more of you back out. But we want to welcome all of you here who are here and who are there. Thank you so much for coming. Now, part of what I have to do, my job as a sergeant, is to, bring a little humor. So we want to just bring a little humor and lighten up the moment for you. And one or two things I'd like to say is, I saw this little joke, and it's brief, but it's something, put in the humor and a smile on your face. It says, why was 6 afraid of 7? The answer is because 7, 8, 9. If you were 6, you would be afraid yourself. 7, 8, 9. Sorry. And another one says a child one day asked his father, Daddy, how were people born? His father thought for a moment and said, well, Adam and Eve made babies. Then their babies made adults and made more babies. And one. So the child, trying to figure it all out, ran to his mother, and he asked his mother the same question. And she told him, well, you see, we were monkeys. Then they evolved, we evolved, and that's how, we got to where we are now. And so we became like them. Child ran back crying to his father. You lied to me, you lied to me. His father said, what? My mommy said we were monkeys and we evolved to become like this. So the father said, no, son, Your mommy was just talking about our side of the family. Well, I hope that light year over the light year day. And what a gorgeous and beautiful day it is. What a gorgeous and beautiful. Now we're going to ask for our visiting Rotarians. Do we have any visiting Rotarians on the call today? If we do, could you kindly unmute yourself if you are on the Zoom and let us know who you are. I guess everyone is still traveling. Everyone traveling Easter break and they're not back yet. They're not ready to come to work yet. Do we have any visiting non-Rotarians? Any visiting non-Rotarian guests? I brought my guests back. Okay, yes, go ahead.
I'd like to introduce Shantez Dillett Wilson, who's joining us today.
Hi, Chantel.
Hi, it's lovely to be here. Nikita, thanks for inviting me. Looking forward to the presentation.
Thanks so much, Shantez. We are certainly happy and glad that you were able to join us and take time out of your busy schedule to be with us. Glad to have you. Do we have any more guests, visiting guests? Michael Russell. Michael, are you on, Michael? I'm told that you are.
Yes, sir. I'm on. I'm here.
Beautiful, excellent, Michael. It's always good to have you. Always good to have you on. Good. And we have one in-house guest too. Yes, could you kindly introduce yourself, please?
Hi, I'm Jessica Miller. Glad to be here.
Good, Jessica Miller. Yes, she's in person. Glad to have you, Jessica. And any other guests? You have any other guests?
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Deborah Thompson. I'm a guest of Dr. Anita Dean.
Hi, Deborah. How are you doing?
I'm doing great today.
Excellent.
Thank you.
We are so happy to have you here. Happy that you're
Thank
able
you.
to join us. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes. And any other apologies, Chantel, Madam Secretary? No apologies. And Madam Secretary, Madam Secretary, I have to apologize for herself, but she's here in person, but her voice certainly isn't. Yes, so Madam Secretary is on the down today, but she's a good sport, right? She's here. She showed up in person. She's here. Good sport. So thanks so much, Madam Secretary, for coming. And if I'd be remiss in my duties as Sergeant, I was reminded last week of my Rotarian Kingdom. Those of you who do not have your pins on, Rotarian pins, you do not have your pin on, whether you are in person or you are by Zoom, please raise your hand and let us know. Because Madam Secretary, is that my buddy Joan? But I'm quite sure she received a call from Madam Walker, Sandra Walker, who will give her a love note. But those of you who don't have your pin on, do not have your Rotarian pin on, of course, we have a love note for you, and we'd like for you to answer that call. And we're going to collect that fine. Okay, we're going to collect that fine.
May I suggest you find yourself, because you are once again naked this week.
Yes, I had to pay a fine. And mind you, I looked at Sheila, you know, and I wondered why she did not have my Sergeant at Arms sash. Sheila, so you have to pay a fine too. So my sash should be at my seat. My sash should be at the seat, waiting for me. So you aren't prepared as well.
I am not one of the officers.
So I have to pay a fine for not having my Sergeant at Arms sash on. All right. And of course, those of you who have your pins on, please come forward and make yourself known and pay your fine. That's what it's all about. That's how we operate. We operate on fines and dues. Thank you so much.
Pay a fine.
And now we're going to go into our Rotary moment. Our Rotary moment is going to be a video that we're going to show for you, and my secretary is going to do that. And then afterwards, we have time of fellowshipping. again. Thank you so much.
This will be the end of one disease, but a new chapter in Rotary.
It's on now, okay. Did you select the?
Front and center. Sustainability is the watchword.
Hello? Hello? I think we've been disconnected from the yacht club. I can't hear anything.
No, we are in. Okay.
Fellowship.
Okay.
Beautiful.
I hate that.
Just as a reminder, we are now in the parking lot. I'm not in the parking lot. Well, this is the
We are now
parking lot.
kneeling.
We are meeting and fellowshipping. That's what she said. We are meeting and fellowshipping. And that's why it's so important for you to be in person, because we're having a beautiful meal. Lunch is very reasonable here. It's a good time for us to get to know each other. And so that's what we're gonna do now. So I recommend that those of you by Zoom, you can have your lunch right now and fellowship as well, as best as you can to your fellow Zoomers.
Seems like a whole lot of people.
And this isn't, you know, something. Piece of road. This is Julia, it's just over at road. You know, it's what we do.
All right, everyone. I know you all enjoyed your meal. What is it? Meal and fellowshipping. I had one tomato, so I'm ready to go. So we want to invite Rotarian President Mike to come and give us some remarks and announcements. So President Mike.
Good evening, everyone. Just one announcement today or remark. We still have our plans ongoing for the RCN raffle. And this will be probably a major fundraiser for the club. I think the tentative date for the raffle is June 30th, just at the end of the year. We have committed to providing 10 prizes from the club. Each club will being asked to come up with 10 prizes. I think we got 2 so far. One so far. Oh, 5, sorry. Thanks for the update. And we are soliciting physical items and also professional services as a part of the club's donation. So maybe we can get some legal services from some of our lawyers, or maybe dental service from our doctor, and some of the other professions we have in the club. Now,
Excuse me, did they put a value on the prices?
I've not heard of any values yet, but you know, if we have any chefs, maybe they can come up and provide a meal as a prize. You know, a personal, you know, personal meal at your house. But that's the sort of services we do.
Not to stay my house.
Ready? All right, back over to Gabrielle.
Thank you very much, President Mike. All right, and coming up next, we're gonna ask Rotarian Sandra. Are you here, Rotarian Sandra?
Yeah.
No? Okay, so we want to. Okay. All righty. And Rotarian Keno for the membership update. Are you here, Rotarian Keno?
I am always here, always in place.
All right, fantastic. Good to see you, man.
Oh, it's always good to, hey, I can't see you. I only could hear your voice and hear those plates going clink, clink, clink.
Well, you should be here.
Hi, Sheila, how are you?
I'm fine. Why aren't you here?
I'll probably come in. If I don't get in next week, it will be the week after. So Sheila, are you gonna save me a plate? Because I'm enjoying my nice cup of water here. I don't know how good the food is, but my water is nice and good. So listen, we just came off our wonderful holiday weekend. I trust everyone had a wonderful rest of, and of course, you went to the beach or you spent time at. Of course, this is our special time when we celebrate our Rotary birthdays. And Tamika, is Tamika in today? Is Tamika in person today? Or on the call today? we want to celebrate Tamika. Her birthday is April 20th. And we want to celebrate Tamika, who is celebrating her birthday today. Do we have our Rotary song today?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
My birthday, come again. My birthday, come again. My birthday, come again. How old am I now? My birthday, come again. My birthday, come again. My birthday, come again. So I can party all night.
Right, all right. All night, all day. You have a wonderful birthday. I think that's tomorrow. So, us, Wayne talked about Rotary Pen every day, but of course we not or connect. Give us. I'm going to be very gracious. If you have not connected with Rotary Buddy, please see Terry and Sandra and give her a gift, like Wayne says. I think it's very important for us to connect with our Rotary buddies, and it's always good to see them, whether in person or on Zoom. But if you have not connected with your Rotary buddy, please make sure that you put in a fine. We want to make sure that we connect with our buddies and we keep it exciting. So next week, we're going to be talking again about our Rotary buddy, and we're going to have another prize if you have your Rotary buddy in person. I think I have a prize for Wayne and Joanne. But next week, please make sure that you have your Rotary buddy either in person or on the Zoom call. All right. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy your meal. Let me go back to enjoying my water.
Thank you very much, Rotarian keynote. That's Aqua Pure, Chelsea's. That sounds like that tastes good.
Is Aqua
Next-
Pure?
All right, good. All right, and so next we're going to ask Rotarian Magliana, I say that right? Maglina, to introduce our guest speaker for us.
Good afternoon, you're right. Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. Nikita Shield, who delights in the title Eagle Ray Impressed, as an ocean entrepreneur, conservation biologist, and luxury estate agent. Rotarian Nikita works at the intersection of climate policy and co-creating community-based climate solutions for residents of Big Ocean Sustainable State. A UNESCO partner and climate resilience specialist. Nikita is founder and CEO of Young Marine Explorers, YME Bahamas, and the Cat Island Conservation Institute. She serves diverse communities through employing a laboratory lens of love, care, and compassion to support education for sustainable development. This support furthers the advancement of science, technology, and innovation in small islands, healing of colonial wounding. As a multifaceted mermaid, Nikita lives a life dedicated to spreading ocean love. Nikita holds a BA Marine Affairs and Policy from University of Miami and an MSc in Biodiversity, Wildlife, and Ecosystem Health from the University of Edinburgh. Rotarian Nikita was installed as a member of the Rotary Satellite Club of Nassau on Cat Island in August 2021. As we celebrate Earth Day and recognize the environmental sustainability Rotary Action Group, please join me in welcoming Rotarian Nikita Shiro. Thank you. Nikita, it's all yours.
Thank you so much. It is a pleasure to be here, and I'm really excited to be joining you, and I can't wait to dive into today's conversation. So I'm just going to share my screen, and we'll begin. Do I have permission to share? Oh, I do. Wonderful. So again, my name is Nikita Shiel-Roll, also known as Eagle Ray Empress, and it is a pleasure to be here today. If you're wondering, well, why on earth does she use the title Eagle Ray Empress? I am going to drop a link in the chat box. On your spare time, I encourage you to watch the 2 documentaries on this website. It's going to give you some insight as to why I use Eagle Ray Empress. And also I would love to know what your superhero name is once you have a chance to remember. So we can of course dive into that deeper. But until then, let's begin. So today I'm going to be talking about the work of Young Marine Explorers and the Cat Island Conservation Institute, which focuses primarily on community-driven conservation. And, but of course, I wanted to make sure to highlight our Cat Island Rotafam in these pictures, because a lot of our Cat Island Rotarians are a big part of our conservation work that we do on island. Okay. So conversations about rising sea levels, floods, biodiversity loss, and ocean acidification aren't just about science. It's about how we ensure that mothers and fathers who live in coastal communities don't get washed out to sea. And so I know today we're gathered here in celebration of Earth Day, and it's really important for me that we remember that humans are a big part of our ecosystem. And often, sometimes when we talk about Earth Day and when we talk about the environment, we like to talk about the environment outside of the humans. And I think this is a challenge, and I think there's an opportunity for us to redirect that. And this is a big part, this is at the heart of the work that we do in, with YME Bahamas, is really ensuring that humans and communities are at the center of all the environmental work that we do. And a big part of the work that we do is facilitating and supporting communities healing from colonial wounding. And now you're probably like, what does this have to do with the environment? Well, it actually has a lot to do with the environment. The reality is that the Bahamas has a very complex history, and colonialism is at the heart of that. And because of our history, we have huge divides within our society. We have people like myself who had the luxury of going to some of the most elite schools in the world, and we have amazing education. In the same island, in the same communities, we have many people who struggle to read and write. And the reality is that for many of our communities, we have 6-year-olds and 60-year-olds who have the same needs as it relates to education. And education is at the foundation of our ability to protect our environment and to be able to really dive into developing the skills that conservation demands, and more importantly, that climate action requires. And as we are moving out of the colonial legacy and co-creating a new future for us as both the Bahamas, but then also as I think the Caribbean region, one of our greatest challenges has to do with the gaps that exist with institutional and human capacity in the sciences. Most Caribbean governments are not investing any money as it relates to research. Those of you who would have spent time either in the United States would be familiar with, countries like the United States have extensive support systems to fund research, whether it's through government channels like NOAA or whether it's through industry. And really, industry is one of the biggest drivers for research and development. Obviously, the Bahamas being a tourism dominant economy, we don't have that same support for science. And this is where many of our gaps begin. And this is where we need to address. And this is what we need to address. And so this leads us to, well, what are the priorities for us? And so and I'm giving you this context because without institutional capacity, without knowledge, without resources, we're not going to save our ocean, right? We're not going to save our ocean. We're not going to save the endangered species, whether they're on land or under the water. And so it's really important that we take holistic approaches to conservation and really remember that as humans, we are part of the ecosystem. So national priorities for us as it relates to the blue economy and environmental conservation and protection includes ensuring that we have Bahamian research capacity, access to technology, access to data, collaboration, and of course, finance. And this leads me to the work that we've been doing in Cat Island. The link that I dropped in the chat box, you'll see here, there's 2 documentaries in that on that website. One of them is called Bodies of Water, the other is Antonis. And I encourage you to watch them because it gives us the story of what is possible for us as Bahamians when we really dive into the ocean and dive into nature. And this is what our work with YME Bahamas is all about, building capacity so that we can protect our ocean and so that we have equitable access to the opportunities that the ocean and our biodiversity provides. With that being said, I think it's really important for us to remember that how we see the world impacts how and why we do research and who has access to that information. We are all born into different time and space, and that means our lived realities and our normals are different. And it's important for us to remember that as we are working to address some of the major challenges that we have. And in this effect, I see research skills are social justice tools to really transform our society. And what we're working on doing is training an army of climate crusaders, armed not with guns, but rather with science. And this leads me to the work of the organization. And at the heart of our work is really about building resilient communities. How do we ensure that our island communities throughout the Bahamas, right now where a lot of our work is focused in Cat Island, but we do have a national reach, how do we ensure that we're going to survive the next hurricane, survive the water scarcity issues, survive the food scarcity issues? These are all real threats that not only create impacts on our environment, but also threaten our well-being and way of life. So what we're working towards, our Vision 2025, is to see the establishment of a resilience and heritage center that protects lives, biodiversity, and heritage. So this is a hurricane shelter that will also have a living gene bank and genetics laboratory, and also a virtual immersive heritage museum. So really bringing together a holistic understanding of what does environmental conservation look like, and more importantly, what does it mean for us as Bahamians, understanding that so many Bahamians are disconnected from nature, disconnected from our environment because whether they lack resources, they don't have the time, and there's many barriers to conservation and to equitable participation in conservation. So at the heart of our work, we're really looking at how do we close the science, society, and policy feedback loop. Ultimately, we want to see a society that is engaged in policy, that are active citizens and who have both the vocabulary and the passion to support our government and to also arise as leaders who are able to drive the sustainable development that we need. And this requires science, this requires quality education, And this is what we're working towards. So in order for us as a people to really be able to adapt to climate change, we need both evidence-based adaptive management. We need to know what's happening in the moment. But in order for us to do that, we need to transform how we're educating our people. And this is where education for climate solutions comes in. And the work that we've been doing with the Cat Island Conservation Institute since Dorian. So the Cat Island Conservation Institute was established post Hurricane Dorian, really as a response to Hurricane Dorian. But WIME has been working throughout the country since 2007. But really it's about how do we connect with communities? How do we understand the needs of our communities and ensure that we are addressing the barriers to participation? Whether it's education, whether it's just breaking the conversation down, because so often when we're talking about environmental topics, we're not talking about it in a way that resonates with our communities. So one of the things that we have offered this past year has been a Blue Business Fellowship, and it's been amazing. This is actually a picture of Rotarian Antonise. She was not a Rotarian when she started working with us, but she was part of, she joined, of course, Rotary soon after. And the Blue Business Fellowship is all about providing technology and the skills to enable community members to tap into the world of science. And one of the core projects that we've been working on has been to improve the data deficient hydrometric network. That's a very big phrase. And I know some of you, some of the Rotarians have been involved with the Coco Ross program. So this is a program for collecting rain and sort of helping to do this exact same thing, is to help to increase the number of data points in throughout the Bahamas. And so what, actually I'm going to play a short video to help tell the story. But where we are as a country, as it relates to our environment, as it relates to our ability to respond to climate change, is that we do not have data. We are a data deficient country. This is not unique to us. This is something that we share with the region and other least developed countries in the world. And this is the only way that we're going to be able to, one, ensure that we get the money that we need to be able to develop sustainably, but also to be able to transform our societies. And so what we've done over the past year is that we have created a global community, a global learning community to help facilitate engagement. We must remember that when we're talking about the environment, for so many people, especially when the topics of the environment is focused on plants or sharks or turtles, when you are living in crisis mode, like most Bahamians, you don't have time to pause and think about anything other than ensuring there's food on the table for your children. And so until we are able to improve quality of life for all Bahamians, our environment will continue to be as threat. One of the things that we saw during COVID was that Bahamians depended so heavily on our natural resources, as it is our birthright. However, it's really important that we ensure that we do this intentionally, that we develop our country intentionally, and that we ensure that Bahamians have skills to be able to protect our environment. And this is one of the things that we have been doing through the Grouper School. And the Grouper School is one of the educational offerings that we have. And it is a global learning community to facilitate engagement and inspire participation, develop science skills so that we have Bahamians who otherwise may not have graduated from high school, do not have the science, math, or literacy skills to engage in some of the higher level science, so that we fill those gaps. And so I'm gonna stop sharing my screen right now because there's a much better way to tell this story in a short video that would have been played at the Grouper School party that we had earlier on this year. And I think it's important that you get the chance to see that.
Hello, my name is Anthony's, also known as the Ocean Queen. Today we have done something amazing. We have just installed our first rain gauge in Cat Island in the Bahamas. Yes, you heard it, our first rain gauge. Here's a small video showing you guys of us installing our first rain gauge. But before I do so, I just want you guys to know how much of a pack this is going to be of us having our first rain gauge. We are going to be able to collect our own data. Yes, our own data. Because I believe that the more information we have about the weather, the better it is going to be. So let's get right into that video. So, potential royal rain catchers. I, Anthony's Anthon, aka the Ocean Queen, I'm asking you to rise to the occasion and help me, or us I should say, in doing our part and becoming a royal rain catcher. Let's collect those datas so we can help fill in those blanks. With the support of you all becoming a royal rain catcher, we will be able to identify severe weather storm and their pattern and help out the BDM, Bahamas Developed Meteorology, and other governmental agency and organization working toward sustainable development. We will be able to gather accurate rainfall and distribution throughout the country. In the Bahamas in 2016, there were 54 rain gauge installed and 22 are intermittently reporting and 8 are consistently reporting. That is not nearly enough to gather accurate data, but becoming a royal rain catcher, you will help us out in doing so. Not a long time ago, I had no idea of what is climate change and also what is a rain gauge. Being a part of the Young Marine Explorers has challenged me in moving into unfamiliar territorial places, but not in a bad way. I have learned so much in such a short period of time. I am excited to what the future has in store with being a part of this organization. I was very impressed of how YME meted people where they are and created a space for ordinary people like me to have a voice. Let us all join in partnership and become a royal rain catcher. Do not forget, potential royal rain catchers, to think of your superhero name. Think of what power you possess and what good you will want to do for your planet. I know this is only one rain gauge, but it is one out of many to come. Let us do our part and become a royal rain catcher.
Awesome. So I'm really happy to share that we now have 2 rain gauges installed in Cat Island, one in Arthurstown and the other in Orange Creek. And now that Antonice has moved out of her fellowship, she has actually been contracted as a community scientist to design a plan for expanding our rain gauge network by 5 throughout Cat Island. And this is so super significant because in the first map that you would have seen, there were no rain gauges in Cat Island. And the difference between this method of engaging people in science and community members in science really boils down to how we engage them and how we ensure that we go slow enough so that we don't leave anyone behind. And so one of the ways that we're doing this is going slow enough. And so this is, I just wanted to share. So this is now our open access data. And this is a model. So the Royal Raincatchers program is just one of many solutions that we are co-creating with our Cat Island community to be able to address real challenges, right? Understanding weather is so important, not just for our well-being as humans, because we drink water, we need water to survive, but so do the plants and this entire planet. But also what is happening is that through the approach that we're taking, this community-driven approach, we're ensuring that Bahamians from all walks of life have the ability to be active participants in the co-creation of our resilient communities. And truly how you engage communities matter. And ultimately, we have to ensure that our communities in the Bahamas and throughout the region have the skills to be able to articulate our needs. And data is a language that the international community understands. And this is going to be vital in us being able to articulate to the international community where our challenges lie and what it is that we need and what financial resources we need so that we can ensure that we channel the needs appropriately. And ultimately, the Royal Raincatchers program is the first training ground for developing this new trait of community scientists. And where we're really heading towards and what the real goal is our community marine scientists. So this picture on the left was taken during one of our Rotary cleanups where we had some of our community scientists out with us and they were doing trash surveys. You can see we had, this is also Rotarian Cherie, who was trying on her new BCD, so buoyancy control device, as she's part of the team here. These are a few of our team members who are becoming certified divers or in the process of not just becoming certified divers, but also becoming trained community marine scientists with the ability to collect research grade quality data. Additionally, so while we're working in the community at the very, very local level, we're also working at the UN level. And so last year was the first year of the UN Ocean Decade, and it was all about ocean love. And the reason why I started using the phrase ocean love was that I gave a talk, maybe 2 years ago now. And someone asked me, well, how do you talk about climate change so that you're not so annoying? And I realized if the global north thinks that I'm annoying when I talk to them about the issues that we're facing in the Bahamas about climate change, I have to use different vocabulary because I can't be annoying if we want to make things make sense. And so hence the term ocean love became my mantra. And the picture on the right is a picture of us from the UN Climate Change Conference in Glasgow this last year. You'll see we have our climate czar holding the ocean love poster. And this was a team of Caribbean people and individuals from the University of Edinburgh who came together to talk about climate change. I'm wrapping up right now. And so with that being said, one of the outcomes that came from our climate conversations in Glasgow was the need to really engage young people in climate solutions. And this is where I'm really going to celebrate the government of the Bahamas for investing in youth and helping us host this youth conference on climate change. So if you have a young person in your life, anyone between the ages of 15 and 30, they do not have to be in high school or college or university. They can be police officer, they can be working. We want them to be at this conference because this is how we're going to ensure that all our Bahamians are prepared. We will be having a youth we're expecting about 300 youth from throughout the region and the country, and a special delegation of young people coming from Africa who are part of us, who are going to be joining us as we co-create a 10-year vision for youth as it relates to what we want our future to be like. And with that being said, I would like to say Misgana, which is gratitude in Amharic, one of the languages that we're teaching through our work at YME is Amharic, because as we are healing from our colonial wounding, it's important that we remember that there's so much out there for us that are so much part of our heritage that we have not had access to because we have not known it is available, we have not had access, and we have not known the language. And so by introducing our community to Amharic, to words like Miskana, it's helping us to expand how we see ourselves and enable us show up in a different way so that we can truly protect our oceans and all the biodiversity that supports our lives and our beautiful economy. So with that, thank you so much. It was a pleasure to be able to share this story. I would love to talk further in detail. And of course, we also need donations and support. So if you're interested in a small donation, a $3,000 donation would help us get our van back on the road, which would be amazing for the students who are asking me every day when YME is starting up again. And also, if you're interested in a much larger donation, we would love to talk about how you can support us in establishing the Resilience and Heritage Center, which will be a hurricane shelter, in addition to the Biodiversity Genetics Lab. So thank you so very much, and it's been a pleasure.
Very much, Rotarian Nikita, for an invigorating and enlightening presentation. I'm not a marine person that much myself, but you had me interested, and I was envisioning the beach and and research and all of this. But again, so conscious of time, I'll ask Rotarian Meglina. I'm gonna get it. Rotarian Meglina to offer thanks to our speaker. Are you there? Okay. And so again, Rotarian Nikita, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that presentation. Oh,
I'm here. I just lost. Thank you so much, Rotarian Nikita, for such an awesome presentation. I was ready. I thought I was in the ocean myself, just how she talked, trying to learn how to dive. But that was food for thought, Rotarian Nikita, and thank you so much for a great presentation today.
Yes, and I don't want to speak out of turn, but is it Q&A for the parking lot? Okay, great. So hold your questions, and we'll do that at the parking lot session. All right, so calling Rotarian Wayne to do the four-way test. And I heard you talk about, I heard you whisper, boy, I want to make a donation. I don't know if that was Rotarian Wayne or Rotarian Mike, or President Mike. It was a male voice of Rotarian contact.
Good. Thank you. I'm quite sure there'll be many donations coming. What a powerful presentation. We'll continue in the parking lot with that. But the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. Is it the truth? Is
it fair to all concerned?
Will it
build goodwill and better friendships?
Will it be
beneficial to all concerned?
And finally, will it be fun? Yes! Once we get in person.
Stand up when we do that.
Yes, in person. Okay, and so now. So Rotarian Larry, would you do the toast, please? Come out.
Rotarians who are here, and those Rotarians who may be out there, please join with Rotarians everywhere in a toast to Rotary all over the world.
Rotary all over the world.
Rotary all over the world.
All right, thank you very much. We call on President Mike to adjourn our meeting for us.
Meetings is officially adjourned, and I guess we can sit and chat for a while and go merry way back to work. Thank you.
Michael, you're supposed to ding the bell when it starts and ends.
Usually things.
Okay, good. Let's get the parking lot started. Yes, this is the parking lot now, the parking lot. And of course, this is where we engage our guest speaker. And so we like now to, for those of you who have any questions, any burning questions you want to ask our guest speaker, Nikita, Rotary Nikita, to address. I would wish to say what a wonderful presentation it was. And I, like everybody else, was out in the ocean swimming while you were speaking, and wish I could have done some scuba diving myself. And I want to commend you for the work you're doing. Very, very good work you're doing there. Are we trying to get this on the curriculum of, say, the Ministry of Education? I think it should be taught in school. So Terry and Nikita, could you indicate whether or not your team or organization is working in close partnership with the Ministry of Education?
Yes, that's an excellent question. So right now we're working very closely actually with the UNESCO National Commission, which is based within the Ministry of Education, to scale up and integrate these programs. So we haven't gotten there yet, but right now, the reason why, as an organization, we were based in New Providence between 2007 and 2017. And one of the reasons why we shifted to Cat Island was that to create a community-driven approach and an intergenerational approach required us to work in a smaller community. So Cat Island has become the perfect classroom for us to engage with students of all ages to promote lifelong learning. And yes, absolutely, the vision is for us to see these programs streamlined and expanded, because this is what we need. This is what is needed.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, we have to start with the kids. I know Cat Island has some very, very pristine waters. I tell you, some of the most beautifulest water in the country, Cat Island House. So it's a good place to be. Any other Rotarians on the call wish to engage a Rotarian, Nikita? Any questions?
Hey, Nikita, it's Sheila. I'm going to share the wonderful presentation you did for me for Dubai. If that's okay with you.
Absolutely.
I'll put it in the Caribbean chat as well, especially, as it's ultra relevant now. Thank you.
Thank you.
So look like no one have no other questions. Nikita, just a concern as well, because I heard in your general presentation, the general presentation is that we as a people apparently don't appreciate, our natural environment to the extent that we should. And if left unchecked, we can lose this precious jewel that we have here in the Bahamas, or it can become so polluted and contaminated that its value will be lost. Is that what I'm hearing you say, basically, through your context?
I'm going to say yes, and this is why I started the presentation with the term colonial wounding, because it's not as simple as we don't appreciate it, but there are real barriers to appreciate it, right? And so, like, for example, think about New Providence. Most Bahamians live in the inner city. They don't have transportation. They don't have access to the beaches, right? So even being able to go to the beach, going is a luxury for most people, and maybe they do it once or twice a year on the holiday, like this past weekend. So understanding the barriers to participating, the barriers to appreciating is critical. And this is something that's often overlooked because it's not necessarily that people don't want to, they just often don't have the capacity. And this is where the responsibility lies on us to be very clear about identifying what those barriers are and being intentional about addressing them. So for example, this is why we started the Blue Business Fellowship, which the award for the fellowship was an iPhone. Why was it an iPhone? Because without an iPhone, without a good phone, you can't join a Zoom meeting, right? So technology matters, access matters. And so yes, we want to conserve the oceans, but if you don't even know anything about it and you're in work every single day, you know, and then dealing with your family, we have to nurture how we connect people to the ocean and make it accessible to them. And it's not just the ocean, but it's also the coppice. You know, it's the birds, the plants, the flowers.
Excellent, excellent stuff. You sure got this down, and you're so passionate about it, and I can feel the passion coming through your voice, and you really make a topic that, you know, for the most part is one, you know, people are not interested in that much to be taken for granted, but you sure bring life to it. And so I want to congratulate you, and I hope that you continue in this effort. And like everything else, you know, it starts from the Pacific and then it reach out to the world. And so the rest of us will get it somehow and some way, and, you know, sooner rather than later, okay? So thanks so much. And I don't know if there be no other further questions, then that will conclude our parking lot session. Thank you so much again. Carrie and Nikita.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Enjoy the dentist.
Wow.
Thank you.
Has there ever been a time?
See you right here on the hill on Fallen